What is going on, everybody? My name is Patrick, and this is Valor Aquaponics. I apologize I haven't made a new video in like 2 weeks, but it's been really crazy for me between work and trying to get this business up and running. It's just been a lot. So no Edward in this video. We do work some opposite shifts, so it's kind of hard for us sometimes to meet, but we still talk every day. And so this week's video is just going to be a quick update on the system here at my house, and then I'm going to then just kind of give you a brief update on what the status is of our business and kind of what's going on. So stick around. We got a lot to talk about. So here we go. So like always, we're gonna start off in the community tub. Still no zucchini yet. It's flowered. I pollinated it, but it doesn't really do anything. But as you can see, everything is growing out. It's starting to really take over the whole area. So, doing really well. Not really much to see though. So now we're going to go up, and this is where we've seen a lot of the development. So as you remember from the last video, we had a couple peppers. So we've got a few more. Let's see if I can zoom in. So there's one there. There's actually one kind of hiding right back there. We have a bunch of them that are just starting to grow. So like this one right here in the middle of the screen, which I don't know if it's going to focus. It's not focusing. But we also have a couple big ones. So like there's one back here. We have one back here. We have a giant one in the back. We have one here, here, here. We have another one back here, way back there. We have this one here. I'd say we're probably getting close to, we're over 16, I believe. So quite a few peppers are growing. So a lot of flowers, been pollinating. So this flower right here, it's actually starting to grow a pepper. I can see it right in the middle. I'm not going to be able to show you guys on camera. I don't think I can zoom in that well without focusing. So then let's head over to the other tubs. So here we are. This is the tomato and cucumber. So still no tomatoes, but these things are really sturdy. So we've got a lot of growth, just waiting for flowers. So I did clean this up a little bit. So this tomato plant's doing well. It's actually already protruding. Same thing with this cucumber plant. So it's been flowering a lot, and I do have a couple cucumbers, small ones, like right here. Let me see if I can zoom in. Right there. However, they don't get much bigger than that before they die off, so I'm not really sure what's going on. But everything's still growing, still doing well. And then we've got the lettuce tub, which has a different light. I'm actually going to test out a new light, I think Monday. So that's when I get it. So I've made some slight changes because lettuce was wilting a little bit, so I just gave it a little support with some old net pots. But as you can see, the lettuce is really starting to grow. So this is ruby red here. That's red romaine, which hasn't turned red yet. This, I forgot what this was. Oak leaf. This is oak leaf. That's what that is. I believe in the back is Paris Island. I forgot what this one was. So Swiss chard. So let me show you something, and then I'll come back to this tub. So don't be alarmed, but the aquarium is red, and it's not because of some plague, but it's because of the minerals I put into the water. So I actually bought some minerals from, let's see, I believe it's the True Aquaponics store. So I ended up putting in a 3-week dose with iron sulfate, potassium sulfate, and magnesium sulfate. It's to kind of help the plants get some nutrients. It's not supposed to harm the fish at all. And I've had this in here for 3 or 4 days, so the fish are still alive. Water is slowly but surely starting to clear up a little bit, because before I couldn't even see that. So I didn't even put in the full dose either. So the tilapia are still alive. You can see them swimming around. They are still eating a lot. I have turned the temperature down in the aquarium a little bit more. It was getting up to 76 degrees. It is currently at 74.7 and still dropping. I kind of want it to be right around 70 to 72, mainly for the lettuce. Lettuce seems to grow a little bit better at lower temperatures. So because of that, I feel like the lettuce and everything else is starting to grow really well. So like Swiss chard here, starting to see like this, almost like a little gloss to the lettuce. It's starting to like really get firm, and this has only been happening in the last 24 to 48 hours. So and I mean the effect of the minerals are supposed to take about 7 to 10 days, but it's already after like 3-4 days. I've already seen a big jump. Like, so this lettuce right here is really starting to grow out. This thing is growing like a weed all of a sudden. Same thing with this one right here. So that's really starting to grow. So it's nice to see that the nutrients are actually working. So, and then I also put in this, as you can see, this white tubing. I actually put in another pump. Put in an air pump, in both tubs, and that's to kind of help bring some more dissolved oxygen into the grow beds, just in case they're not getting enough. And I made a small change to the discharge here. This used to have 290s. I just put a 145, and I've noticed that I get tremendously more water flow, which is kind of what I want. So doing well. Lettuce should be probably ready to go in another 2, maybe 3 weeks. So yeah, they're doing very well. Fish are still doing well. I wish I could show you what we got at Edward's house, but I'm not going to be able to do that for probably another week or so. So let me head upstairs and we can discuss kind of where we're at with the business. So I kind of lied. Edward was able to send me this video from his cell phone. Now, if you guys know what kind of fish this is, please leave a comment below. But in the meantime, just enjoy this short little clip of the newest addition to our aquaponics farm. Alright guys, so I'm back inside. It's actually a different day, but I got my new Valor Aquaponics polo. Yeah, we're rocking that today. I actually had a meeting I just came from, so that's why this is all taking so long to upload. Mainly because I've had meetings upon meetings, emails and phone calls, so it's been a lot going on. So what's going on with the business is today we looked at the space again with a realty company. So we already saw the space once before. However, the owner wanted to show us the space again so we could take measurements, and then he also had some extra space that he thought that would work well for us. And after we saw it, we really just kind of fell in love with it. It would actually be able to double our grow space from the original space. And what's cool is that he's willing to work with us. He actually has talked about possibly coming in as an investor. He is a local businessman here in Wisconsin. Has Wisconsin ties. His dad grew up here. He grew up here, just kind of a couple towns over, and he does very well. He's been very successful. So he actually knows a little bit about aquaponics. So he's actually the first person we've actually met that actually knew anything about aquaponics. So which is kind of exciting for us because 99.9% of the people I run into have absolutely no idea about aquaponics. It's always I kind of wish I had like a little video every time I could just pull it up on my phone and be like, this is aquaponics. Just because it's more fun than just talking about it. It would be kind of cool to show it. So we do have that. He's actually the only potential investor that's actually has continued to stress that he's actually very interested in investing. We've spoken with a lot of investors. I specifically have spoken with a lot of investors, and they express interest, but then they kind of die off, or they express interest, but then like they're not sure, just because they're not sure of the profitability. I mean, because they've never heard about it. So which is fine. We understand. We're actually fully prepared to go at it alone if we have to, in which case we would never use investors ever after that, because like I said before, if we're able to get this going without the use of investors, why would I want to bring in an investor when we're already bringing in a substantial amount of profit? Why would I want to reward them for not helping us in the beginning, and then they just come in and what I like to call sucking on the teat of the money cow, or jumping on the money train. So I would rather not have them do that and just have us focus on building it organically. However, we are speaking with this current business owner who owns this property, and we'll see what happens. As long as the funding comes through, we will most likely obtain this space. So hopefully. And then, I mean, part of that also comes down to the city. We found out that we have to fill out a conditional use permit, and then it has to go before the city council, and they have to vote on it. They have to approve it. Since aquaponics does not show up anywhere in their paperwork, because it's so new, they want us to do all these projections and project narratives talking about what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, what kind of chemicals are involved, what kind of water usage is involved, traffic, things like that. Luckily for us, I mean, it is in a manufacturing building, so technically we're manufacturing vegetables. It's just that we're not using machines. We're using basically like nature. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully they'll approve us. I've already kind of spoken with the mayor and spoken with some of the city planner, and they seem kind of intrigued by it since they didn't know what it was, and it kind of helps put the city on the map here in Wisconsin. So we'll see what happens. So right now, everything is being held up by the funding. We are going through WIBIC in Wisconsin here. I was tentatively approved, and then I ended up getting a business partner who happens to be my best friend, and now we have to kind of go through the whole process again. And then we found out that since he's married, his wife also has to then technically apply with us. So technically she owns 25% of the company then. Since my buddy owns 50, since he's married, and legally every half of his is hers, she owns 25. So we're just trying to figure out how much they'll approve us for. Luckily, he does very well. We work for the same company, just in 2 different locations. He makes far more money than I do. He's also has more responsibility. He's a controls lead technician, so he does automation. He actually runs a very large facility and does the automation for that facility. And he's the lead. He actually has a group of guys that he's in charge of. So we're hoping with his credit, with the low amount of debt that he has, and the great credit that him and his wife have, that we're able to get more funding. And if that's the case, then hopefully we'll be up and running within a month. We should hopefully know within a week, is from what I'm told, that we'll know in about a week if we're approved and how much we're approved. And it's going to take a few weeks to kind of get everything finalized and paperwork done. It's kind of more of a business line of credit than just a full out loan, which is great because we don't have to use up all the money right away. We can use part of it, and we only pay on what we've taken out. We don't pay on the full amount until we take all of it out. So we're hoping we get enough to get started, and then have some money extra just in case something happens. We are setting aside 6 months of rent aside no matter what, just because a lot of the businesses that we're talking to have a 90-day payment policy, which means we would provide our produce for up to 90 days before we would actually get paid. A lot of people do it. It's a net 90. It kind of puts a hardship, and I think this is why a lot of businesses struggle, is because it's a lot of hardship up front. But once you start getting that first check, you're able to get going and things like that. It just, you have to be able to make sure that you have enough funds to get through that first 90 days. Otherwise, you're going to be struggling, and I think that's probably why a lot of businesses fail, is they don't take that into account. So that's kind of where we are. We're kind of at a standstill. We're waiting on financing. All of the paperwork was just sent in today. Apparently, they forgot to tell us that we needed some paperwork, so we were kind of struggling to get. We were waiting a week. Trying to figure out what was going on, and then they tell us, oh yeah, by the way, we need this additional paperwork. So so then we're struggling to come up with that, last minute. So then that's stuff that we could have been doing for the last week while we were waiting around. So it's a little bit frustrating, but it's kind of what you have to go through. People are human beings, and people make mistakes, and I make my fair share of mistakes too. So can't get really overly upset. But it does slow us down, slowed us down a week. So, we're really trying to get things going. Our samples are growing really big. I figure about another 2 weeks and our samples will be big enough to actually eat and or sell. So that's kind of where we are. We're hopefully at the next video. Hopefully I'll be able to go back to making weekly videos. We'll see. I'll do my best. It's been a lot of work. It's been a lot of phone calls and meetings and running around. So, and I'm still working full time too. So is my business partner Edward. So we both work full time, sometimes with overtime. So it's we're trying to do the best we can. Trying to fit in all these meetings and tours and things like that. So that's where we're at. Hopefully I'll have another video for you guys next week. Actually, I really hope so, because we actually got some new fish in, and I would love to show them to you. Unfortunately, they're at Edward's house, so we don't live close to each other, unfortunately. So and our schedules don't always vibe, so we'll have to figure something out. So I just want to thank you guys for watching this video. Thank you guys for always commenting and liking the videos and sharing. We truly appreciate it. Just remember to be the change that you wish to see in the world, and we'll see you guys later.